because Buddhism is not Christianity. There is no belief in God. We do not believe in anything outside of the human being itself. We believe that we possess the same power that we call God, that we possess that condition or state of life within the 5-foot frame of the human being. So there's no need to go outside of yourself. There's no need to consult a psychic. There's no need to consult astrologers, because as you practice, whoever the individual person is, organically, you would lead yourself based on the law of causality and being in rhythm with the movement of life. I'm talking about the rhythm of life. That's a daily life, in and out, night, day, in and out, all those things we go through, that the person leads themselves into the correct situations. I mean, I've seen that with my own eyes. And so that's the difference. And so I would never try to make them comparative. There's no comparison. Buddhism is something you've never heard of. One of the members was telling me the other day about the three visions of the Buddha. And because we were talking about psychics and everything, and I was saying, yeah, I'd like to talk to psychics and people because I want them to understand what happens to you when you start practicing, you start chanting, you do mantras, and it goes inside of there and everything. Again, I'm not saying this is the only way, because I know it's be a million arguments. How dare you say it's the only way to do things, and there's the this and that. And so Buddhism is supreme, in my opinion, based on what I've experienced. Now, if you don't hang around long enough, you do Buddhism for only a few days, and you don't get what you think you came for because you're shallow and looking for material things, it does do that. But more than that, inside, it's inconspicuous. It's like a tree. If you don't see the tree and you don't walk by and it was a little bitty bush, and then you go by one day and the tree is big, that's Buddhism. That's how it develops the person inside. Some people may be very proficient at intellectualism. They may be worthy of being a Yale or a Harvard student, but they still have karma. Somebody in your family ain't doing good. They're not Yale and Harvard, or they may be going through. That's all of the things that Buddhism addresses. Buddha means a person that has attained enlightenment. Bodhisattva, which is what I am, I was told, are people that are practicing to become enlightened. We're seeking enlightenment. The world is shallow for us. Sex, drugs, all of that stuff, it's shallow. It's shallow. You know, them little relationships we cry over and all bleed over. My relationships is with, with the multiverse, with something beyond my human comprehension, for lack of a way to say that, or a better way to explain it. But by the time you get to go into the 10 worlds, hell, hunger, anger, animality, rapture, tranquility, bodhisattva, Buddhahood, you see the different stages. As long as everything is going good, everyone is in the stage of tranquility and rapture in heaven. But if something happens to you, like your boyfriend hits you in the face or the mug, you're going to hell, don't you? Tell me you don't. Tell me you don't. This is what Buddhism deals with, those different conditions that daily life goes through. That's why it's not akin to a God. The word God is small. It's like a joke compared to what Buddhism is. Buddhism takes you outside of your human perception. It develops the mind that is undeveloped. It delves into the deep parts of the subconscious and brings the person into their full consciousness. And so if you, like I said, well, if I'm a Buddha, then I probably wouldn't be on the planet. This would be like, look, this is boring. And it is. It's boring to me. The things that people find problems with now after practicing for 44 years is boring. Boring. We're stuck on little bitty things that don't even matter at the end of the day. They're fighting a war over land that nobody can take with them, killing people over something that you don't really own either. You're going to die. Wow. See what I'm saying? Die. You're fighting over something that nobody really owns, because as human beings and as entities living on a planet, we die, don't we, eventually? So what are you really fighting over? What is that about? And so that's what the kind of things that Buddhism addresses. The war obviously is within a person. My anger is within me. That's why when it came to you, we had something to talk about, because both of us have that in us. And then if that magnifies, wow, we got a whole group of people now. And now we got a whole world. And next thing you know, everybody's fighting. So it is a real condition of anger, isn't it? And hell, what about that? How do we get in that? Well, the last time I saw a drug addict on the streets, they looked like they were in hell. I didn't see nothing heavenly about their face, their behavior, nothing told me. But I've had very enlightening conversations down on Skid Row with alcoholics who for one moment had a moment of clarity, and it was enlightening. But they were in hell. And some of those people I got to practice, they're not in hell anymore. They stuck with it. It's something you have to stick with. Much like if you want to be a dancer or a writer or anything, you have to get the discipline and you have to work it. It's a process of developing into the best version of a human being that you can see. And I came from all of those places. And my face don't look like I'm 95 years old. I don't look all tired and beat down to yeah, one day I'm gonna see my Lord, and that's how I saw, and it turned me off. It made me angry when I saw my mother die of things because of what she believed in. I couldn't get her to understand karma. And I saw my grandmother, all these beautiful people that died all afflicted and angry and stuff because they were praying and they didn't understand cause and effect. That's right. They didn't understand cause and effect, but they might have known about Jesus and God, but nobody taught them about cause. And I'm not talking about reap what you sow. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about cause and effect, where everything you do matters. Everything from the most minutest thought you have to the biggest action that a person could take. Cause and effect. It builds up like fortune in the bank. If you've made a lot of negative things, let's say you talk about people behind their back, or you in your mind and they don't hear it, what do you think cause and effect is? It's marking. Osiris talked about so-and-so behind their back and they didn't hear it. That's a negative. That's unfair. Talk to them about it in their face. Are you so brave? Go talk to them about it in their face. People that think negative thoughts, and because they don't think anybody hears them, it's still a cause, because it's thoughts, words, action, and deeds that we're making with our minds. And once I understood not to allow myself to think suicidal thoughts, that I had to discipline my mind and train myself not to think negative and be the little black colored girl that came out of Waco, Texas, that mother told her that you born black, poor, and ugly, and you're going to die black, poor, and ugly. Once I got past all those things, I became an Osiris. And that's who you see. And I don't look like I've been through none of the stuff I just told you. And I went through every bit of it. You can ask my kids. They were there. Nobody thought I would make it out of it, but I kept going. And I kept doing my practice. And I kept saying, you got to develop. You have it in you. I know that you can be a different version. I know that you can be the person that your parents didn't talk. And most people my age, they look old and run down. And I'm serious. I'm going to tell you, you look old and run down. And you don't look happy. And you're sitting up there thinking just because you're older, you're not supposed to have it really. Well, I guess I'm dead now. Or I'm 80. Or, I guess I ain't going to meet nobody. You can meet people when you're 90 years old and have fun for how long it lasts. You could last another 20 years, another 5. There are people 30 that lasted 5 years and they're gone. So you can't live like that. We have to live in kind of a forward movement, moving forward all the time. Learning and moving forward, learning and moving forward. It's a process, learning and moving forward, overcoming and moving forward, overcoming and moving forward until one day you're all grown up. I just grew up like 2 years ago. It took me a long time to grow up. I don't mean I wasn't emotionally mature. I mean, grow up where you understand what's going on around here, And it's a big old world out there and you understand. And I believe that through the eyes of the Buddha, I was going to say, we were talking about, someone said, have you ever heard of the 3 visions of the Buddha? I'm like, yeah, but I don't quite understand because Buddhist doctrine is very deep. It's very deep. I said, well, what are the Buddha's visions? He said, the first vision is like people in the regular world. You just got 5 senses. You're going to work, you're coming home, you have your partners, your relationships, you have your kids, whatever, your marriages, your life lessons. Second vision of the Buddha is your psychic people. Your tarot card readers and all those people that can see heavenly beings, they're very perceptive, they're intuitive, things like that. But the third vision of the Buddha is the Buddha itself, and there are no words. None. It's incomprehensible.